Last week a commenter asked me about campaign preparation, and I thought I should do a video rather than trying to squeeze my response into a comment. Not that my response is going to be that long. This is not one of those areas in which I can give a definite response, mainly because each campaign has a life of its own. Each campaign is different, and the needs of its setting and genre are going to dictate what you have to do. So, for example, if I'm preparing a Star Wars campaign right now, so the amount of prep I have to do is really just what kind of background characters I need to help the player characters start the action, and that's really it. I mean, the visual vocabulary for the campaign world is given to us by the movies. The genre dictates the way that I will run the game, and so other than taking the background of the characters and turning that into the foundation for their starting position and taking their actions and using that as the means to drive what realistically, according to the genre of Star Wars, will happen next, we're good to go. I'll need to create some non-player characters. Some of these will have to be created on the fly. Some of them will have to be created in advance. Not really a lot of prep, at least not from my point of view. Now, my RuneQuest campaign, which you can see recaps of on the channel to get a sense of what I'm talking about, this is an entirely different animal. I took a toolkit rule set, which has no real, what we call fluff to it, no descriptive tone to the powers, the effects, the spells, and that sort of thing. And I had to create all of that. I had to create the world in which the characters were living, or didn't have to, I chose to. I had to create races, cultures, laws, religions, how physics actually works in this world that I've created, and on and on. I could go as far as I wanted. Now, some people might approach this by making a binder and doing lists of information or sections on cultures and religions and that sort of thing, so that they can easily access this information. They can share it with people as necessary. I don't do that. I do make lists. I make lists of the things I'm likely to forget, NPC names, place names. I make lists of page references for different things I'm trying to tie together, like this religious organization is this kind of cult in the RuneQuest rules, and by looking at those annotations, the memory comes back to me, that sort of thing. So I make reminders, and I make vlogs. The process of talking about the world that I'm creating helps me to remember it, and then once we get into actual play, things really start to explode, and I do recaps to keep track of everything in its actual final form. And so this is a moderate kind of campaign prep. The highest level of campaign prep that I've ever engaged in did require a binder, because what it was a Vampire the Dark Ages chronicle, which we were expecting to have 9 players, and it actually swelled up to 12, 13, at one time 14 players, but it was basically around 9 to 10 players. And there were 4 storytellers rotating the duties, and it was planned that every 2 weeks the storyteller would change, unless there were some extenuating circumstances for this not to happen. So this gave us a very deep sandbox, and we needed notes to keep all the storytellers informed of what they needed to know. Cultural elements, the relationships between NPCs and PCs, and that sort of thing. So each page of this very big binder was packed with information, annotated according to a system that we worked out, so it was easy to manage. Each game master was responsible for a certain number of secrets, so that the other 3 could be surprised by some aspects of gameplay, and those parts of the binder were separate. And so there's the information that we all knew, and then we all did our own methods for taking care of our own secret agenda. Now that game, by using this highly organized method, was able to run for more than a year, and was one of the better campaigns of the old World of Darkness that we ever had. I mean, we were all ready. We had all run many campaigns. We'd all run many chronicles. Had been through many different types of players in our groups, and this collaborative effort and this very organized way of conducting the collaboration, it really worked. So that's my answer. It varies. It varies for a reason. What are you trying to do? What are you able to do? What can you remember? What can you just pull from a book or pull from a movie? And how do you like to have your information organized? Do you heavily prepare beforehand for some reason, or do you like to be inspired in play for some reason? So balance all of these things together, and you'll have your answer about how much preparation is necessary. As an addendum, if it's a new system and you're not really confident going into that first session about what might happen if someone gets into some kind of negotiation or bartering scene, or if you're not really sure what will happen if you get into ranged combat or have to deal with explosives or hacking or something like that, then clearly notes are called for. Be ready for that first session. Be ready to enlist the players to help you get over, that massive, information learning curve for the first few sessions of a new system. If it's an old system that you're comfortable with, just go with what you need. I hope this was helpful.